Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Common Good Podcast. It's been a couple of weeks, Rob, since we've had the dulcet tones of the, I don't know, somehow like creepy sound that is the jazzy style of our intro
Oh,
music.
you think it's creepy?
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
don't
It
think
feels
it's
a little
creepy.
bit like what's that show on Apple TV where the people go work downstairs? All right,
Severance.
reference feels a little bit like that.
Hmm.
Hey, we're going to get into the fact of what happened in the room, meaning the United Center in Chicago, where you and I both
Yes.
had the privilege of being inside that room, and we're also in many of the rooms at the DNC convention. But I saw a movie last night. A buddy of mine is also he's a Stubbs member, AMC Stubbs member, which I am. I think maybe you are too. Have been.
I am not, but that's like the AMC version of Movie Pass.
Kind of, yeah, kind
Yeah,
of not
and
quite
let
as
me once
lovely.
again recommend to everybody the Movie Pass documentary. It's super interesting. I think it's on Max.
If you can watch a documentary about a pass to go see other movies, that is about as meta as you get. I love it.
Yep.
I can't wait to see it.
Yep. It's really good.
Well, he got an email because here's the thing. Apparently, Corey answers emails or opens emails from AMC, which I just wouldn't do. They just go into my junk, non-focus mailbox. He did, and it was Mystery Movie Monday. For $7, you buy tickets. You don't know what the movie is.
Oh, that's fun.
So fun. So he texted a couple of two of us that have been to movies many, many times together and said, "Let's go." And we went last night. No idea walking in what the movie is. Just starts.
Fantastic. Love it.
Yeah.
What was it?
Slingshot. Casey Affleck. Great. Just I really liked it. It really got me. Right, so we're gonna get into it.
This reminds me of if you've seen and I had this idea in the past, and I should have started this business, the business of like a surprise vacation where people like they have a dollar amount and kind of give like hey, we want to go to a beach or we want to do this, and like they don't know where they're going until they show up at the airport, and like yeah. I would love to do stuff like that for people. That
would be so fun. Yeah, that feels like a nice little reality TV show. Surprise vacation, Fantasy Island kind of thing. Fantasy Island kind of thing. Hey, just now noticing this. Not very often do I find a shirt that can clash with this hat.
Yeah.
Somehow I did today.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Got a lot of patterns happening.
There's a lot of blue patterns. All right, let's talk about the DNC, and then we have a bunch of Trump news, of course, because that guy just can't help but to have bad things befall him. Hey, we went to Chicago, participated in the Democratic National Committee's convention, involved 4 nights at the United Center, and I thought it'd be fun to tell people what we experienced and what we saw, and see if they would, have any enjoyment out of knowing what we saw and experienced. I went 3 of the nights. You went 1. You could have gone 2, just to be clear. You could have gone 3. You could have gone 3, actually.
Yeah.
So
you probably weren't gonna let me go on Thursday night, though, right?
Not with my ticket, but you had your own ticket for Thursday.
I did have an offer of a ticket.
Yeah.
I had someone call and say, "Hey, I've got a ticket," and I said, "Great, I can't use it, but I have someone who can." And he said,
"Yeah,
well, he said, I've got a list and you were on top of the list. So I need to call the second person on the list." I said, "Okay."
Wow.
So,
and I hope that person, even if you were 5th on the list, would have said that same thing to you, because why not? Why not just say you were
totally? But I also believe I was first on the list.
I do too. And first on the list, I think you can't turn that down. I think at that point you need to say,
I did. I was in the car headed to the airport, and
turn this ship around. But here's the thing: what time did that all happen? That was early in the morning.
No, this was probably 3:00.
Yeah, you wouldn't have made it. You wouldn't have gotten the building. It was crazy. On Thursday, I walked in at 3:20, barely got a seat. By 4:15, people were not getting seats. People got there at noon that day. This was the day Kamala Harris was going to accept the nomination that had taken place a week before.
Yeah, for people who might not know, so there's two types of, well, there's more than two, but there are several types of passes. The delegates all had passes, and actually
Yeah.
the pass that was offered to me was a delegate pass where I would have been able to sit on the floor. Um, and so the delegates all have passes, and so those are the people you see with like the state signs and the people down on the floor, and then all like the upper ring of the United Center, um, the mezzanine area,
Yeah.
was guest passes and people that had other passes, and it was general seating, first come first serve.
Yeah.
And it felt to me like they were letting in more people than they had seats for.
No doubt.
And boy, I the night that I went, I got there early enough. I got an aisle seat, and I stayed in that seat. At one
Buckled
point,
in.
I did head to the restroom, and I said to the guy sitting next to me, "Hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom," and he said, "I got you. I won't
Yeah.
let anybody sit
Yeah.
here." And
Just don't give my seat away, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
We
he
were
was
trying to sell. We were trying to sell people seats when they went to the bathroom. It didn't work.
yeah,
Couldn't get any money from them. People were just too kind to
yeah.
buy someone's seat from them. No, we weren't. But if you're watching on the live stream, you can see what it looks like. This is where I was sitting. There were probably 15 rows behind me that went all the way up to the ceiling.
Yep,
But
yep.
it's kind of a
Very
fun little.
similar to where I was sitting.
Yeah,
Very similar.
this is the area where people with our level of pass got. So here's what I want to say. If you watch this convention on television or on clips of it, you had a better experience than those of us in the room for the most part.
Yes.
There was a little bit of energy that you pick up in the room, but the television production, I watched it one night on TV, and so much more intimate, so much more energy than when you're sitting like where I was there and you're basically watching it on a TV screen.
Yeah.
And there's all the distractions, just distractions galore around you,
Yes.
people talking and all kinds of things. So we're not here to brag that we got an experience you didn't have. In fact, if you watch this somewhere else, you had likely a better experience than we did,
Yeah.
and we're thrilled about that and glad that
And
that
a
glad
building
that
like
was there for you.
a building like the United Center is built for watching basketball, watching
Yes.
hockey, even watching a concert. It's not built like a sanctuary of a church that
Right.
is built for the acoustics of having one speaker on a stage.
Yes.
And so there were times when like the acoustics and hearing the speaker was not super easy to do,
Very much.
or the crowd was still cheering and the speaker would move on in his talk, and so it was an enjoyable experience. It was something that I really glad I did, but also not that sense of like, oh, everybody has to go to a convention in their lives.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
One of
sure.
the things I noticed as a bit of an audiophile and caring a lot about this is certain voices, and everyone's voice is in a range. Low voices like Raphael Warnock did not communicate well in the room, did great on television.
Yeah.
Higher pitched voices did not communicate well in the room. It's people that had that kind of middle band
Yeah.
EQ voice. Kamala Harris's voice was great in the room.
Yeah.
But you are right that, man, there were times where it was very difficult. You felt like at times, can we turn up the volume?
Yes.
Yeah,
we just tweak that a little bit, turn it up a little bit. And listen, my primary complaint about the convention was really twofold. One was the lack of alcohol.
Yeah, they served none.
You sit for 6 or 7 hours and listen to political speeches. Could have drunk a beer.
A libation would have gone a long way.
Could have drunk a beer. And then the merch was abysmal. And I don't know if this is because Kamala Harris was so late getting on the ticket, or I don't know.
I don't know.
But
You know what it takes to make a shirt?
Seriously,
less than a day.
A blue shirt that says Harris Walls on it.
Yeah,
I would have bought that all day long. I would have bought it in 4 sizes and brought it home as gifts to
Yeah.
family members
Didn't exist.
who would have been like, "Oh, great, Dad got me this,
Yeah.
political T-shirt." Was shocked at
Yeah.
the very little variety
Right.
that existed, and the stuff that was there, how ugly it was. It wasn't good.
Wasn't
Like
good.
the main Kamala T-shirt was like, it was like green and orange. It was not good. It was not good.
Yep. Yeah. Now, look, what you want is that classic Reagan Bush 84 shirt. You
Yeah.
want that design, that kind of classic thing that people are going to carry around and give to their grandkids and wear it ironically in a few years. That's what you're looking for.
Yep.
That kind of
Yep.
yeah, that's right. Okay. So you didn't miss that. You didn't, if you watched it on TV, you got it. Now, what you did miss out on was a little bit of the carnival nature, which was really fun. You can see Dan. I mean, it was fun to smile with
Yep.
people.
Yep.
It was fun to sort of feel like you're in on it. But it wasn't like I was at Game 7 of a World Series where the hometown team that I was rooting for won. It wasn't like that. I'll
Yes.
just say it didn't have that kind of that kind of vibe. So don't feel too badly, friends, beloveds, if you missed out on that thing. It was okay. But here's what you did miss out on. You can get this just by going to the United Center. Rob, I don't even know if you went over and saw it. They have one of those places where you can buy treats, bottled water and soft drinks and chips and Sour Patch Kids inside of one of those Amazon grab and goes.
Yeah.
It was my first experience with an Amazon grab and go. Have you experienced one before?
I had my first experience with one. I think it might have been at the airport on my. Like it was it was on this trip. But I can't remember exactly where it was. But yeah, you scan your phone, Apple Pay, walk on in, pick up the stuff that you want, and walk out.
Yeah. For me, it was
Amazing.
a credit card, not even a phone. It scans with cameras and all sorts of stuff and it just knows, and then that's it. You're done. Oh, it was great. It felt a little bit like shoplifting. So it felt kind of fun, but you weren't. It had all the thrill and none of the wrongdoing. It was just great.
Just a step away from the mark of the beast, where it's just like, let me scan my hand, scan my forehead, just get the food that I need, and I'm good to go. We're like, we're moments away from Jesus coming back.
If we can stay out of lines, I'd be on for that. Hey, Stephen John is here saying, don't you guys have something else to focus on?
We do.
If we did.
We do.
Hearing about it. You just hang around here, old.
We do. Hey, are we done talking about the convention?
Well, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Here's a couple things I noticed.
Yeah.
In the room, and I don't think people would have picked this up on television. So this might be an insight that could come from the room. It has to do with our core work of trying to ask religious voters to consider voting for Democratic candidates if a higher calling would befall them. When presenters would bring up religious thoughts, ideas, texts, that sort of thing, which happened on occasion, not to the degree that it did at the Republican convention, that's for sure. The response in the room was, shall we say, muted. It was not tepid. It was not overly enthusiastic. It was tolerated. And it's just one of the things worth noticing that when other things really fired the crowd up. But boy, whether it was, again, Raphael Warnock or, a number of the speakers would pull out a Bible passage or something. And then when the Obamas, both of them said something to the effect of, don't beat up on people you want to win over. The room got quiet. I heard people verbally grimacing, grousing. Oh, I just want to go get them. Just basically saying, okay, first of all, be kind, be nice. It's just a better way to be as a human being. And secondly, it's a better tactic to actually get to the outcome that you want. People were grousing about it. The third was, and this I found rather despicable. And, I've partly because of the messenger and partly because of the message. It was that guy from Illinois, used to be a congressman, a real forgettable guy. What's his name? Oh yeah, Adam Kissinger. When he spoke, I don't know if you heard it, Rob, his part.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
You know, this is a guy who
I
voted
was
for
by
Donald
that point.
Trump in 2020
By
and
that
didn't have
point I
common
had
sense in 2020, but
yes.
then all of a sudden had a lot of common sense in January of 2021, which good for him to
By
come around.
yes.
But let's not act like you're all high and mighty here. A deeper apology would be great for what you did and how many people you forced into voting for Trump in 2020. But he had a comment to his Republican friends, and it went something like this. Hey, Republican friends, I've discovered a secret. Democrats are as patriotic as we are. Okay, I get the point. He's trying to say, oh, it turns out we've all been saying all these years that they're not even patriotic. Turns out they are. But Adam, brother in the Lord, I would go so far as to even say, which I've never used that phrase in one day of my life. It's not a secret. It never was a secret. Adam, what it was a slanderous lie that you and other people have been perpetrating for decades, that Democrats are not patriotic. I mean, I haven't always only voted for Democrats. I've voted for Republicans. I've not been a Democrat all my life, but I never thought they weren't patriotic. So for him to be up there like, hey, whoa, 2024, I just discovered something. They don't hate America. Yeah. The problem is, I don't think it was just a shtick. I don't think he was just kidding about it. I think he really did think that his contemporaries in Congress who were Democrats didn't love America, or voters who voted for them didn't love America. But now he's come clean with the big secret. Okay, so those are my three. Religion was tepidly responded to in the room. I can't remember the second one, and because I was really trying to get to, the be kind to people was was also grimaced at, and then I can't get over still former Congressman Kissinger. How does he say Kinzinger, former Congressman Adam Kinzinger, with his zinger at this thing of it's a secret, Democrats are patriotic. Really chomped at my bit. So, Kinzinger, thank you, Yabbits, for that, Kinzinger. Guess it's not okay to mispronounce politicians' names. See what I'm doing there? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Oh, just my snark is unbridled for that guy. But glad to have him aboard, and eyes wide open.
We'll take every vote we can get.
Yeah. Hey, you people aren't nearly as hateful of America as I thought you were. I'm glad to be at your convention. Yeah. But obviously, the Harris campaign, approved of the line, approved of the speech. Yep. We're grateful to have him there, and we should
knocked it out of the park. The whole convention. I don't remember a convention with this much energy and excitement. As a convention, it was really spectacular. And
to note that with a little couple of stories, people were flying into Chicago without passes just to be near the convention. Yeah. These are some people I know who did this, and I met lots of others who had done it. Some of these people weren't even sure they wanted to vote 2 months ago. And now they're getting on airplanes and flying to Chicago just to be in the vibe of the convention. That was a really, really good sign if you want the outcome that you and I desire, and the vote common good is trying to work for. Absolutely. So that was great. And as Yabbit says, the bench was great. But you know what's funny about this comment from Yabbit's, the sheer depth of the Democratic bench. 2 months ago, people were like, well, if it's not Joe Biden, who's it going to be? There's nobody. Right. There's nobody to run. This is the problem with how we do with having a president have a carte blanche to the second term. It's not good.
But you can see, you look forward and you can see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Gretchen Whitmer, Veronica Escobar,
still my favorite of the favorites.
Pete Buttigieg, you know, Josh Shapiro,
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
I mean, like Katie Porter wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like, like uh, you can move down through the list and be
Ted Lieu
like,
wasn't there. Yeah, I think Ted Lieu's a
Ted
real
Lieu,
player.
Ted spoke.
He
Ted
did?
was there. Yeah, he spoke the night you were there, night 4. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
On Kamala Harris night?
Yes.
Huh, maybe I was out getting a cheeseburger.
Yeah. No, you weren't out getting a beer.
Maybe I was out enjoying the grab and go.
Yeah.
Which is really a highlight.
You weren't out there getting a beer, that's for sure.
No. Well, I missed Ted.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Ted
Wes
Lieu.
Moore. Yeah, Yabbits mentioned Wes Moore. Wes Moore from the governor of Maryland. Fantastic.
Just great.
Fantastic.
Just great. Yeah. So, great convention. Energy's high. Feels like the groups came together. The protest, I went to the first protest, the one that was organized by the Defund Israel, Support Gaza protest. It wasn't overwhelmingly anything. It was rather underwhelming, and it didn't capture the attention of the convention. It was all great. I think their cause was spoken by Joe Biden that night. I think their cause is righteous and good, and it felt very much part of it, at least focusing.
I had a family member who attended some of the protests, a couple of the protests, and they were a bit disappointed in the protests.
Oh,
yeah. So as much energy, the energy was certainly on the side of convention goers rather than protesters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, you know who really impressed me at the convention? Not someone who made the stage, but someone who I thought had a remarkable presence in a number of different places. Congressional candidate Tammy Wilson, who's running against Jim Jordan in Ohio's 4th district. Tammy went to the border with us, was a part of that trip. She's one of our faves. We've done some events with her. She's running against Jim Jordan, and she had a huge team of people there making their presence felt, encouraging the convention goers to lend their support. And I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because, you've got 10,000 Democrats walking out of a building, and then you've got, a dozen people holding a Fire Jim Jordan sign.
Yeah.
They're going to be popular.
Yes.
And it really, I thought, helped to raise Tammy's profile. I sent her a text and congratulated her on the work that her team did. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. Not something that you would see, from, watching
anyone
on
else.
TV, but something that you saw that, like, I thought it did a great job. And in a world where, we all get a ton of political fundraising emails, and it's easy for that stuff to just become noise. It was really fun to see Tammy kind of break through the noise a little bit. Yeah.
Really fun. Street level. Really street level.
Yes.
Hey, you know what wasn't fun? The street preacher standing outside the place where the security caused you to be in hours-long backups while people through microphones and bullhorns yell the most heinous things.
Yep.
Street preachers, if you're listening, it's not working. It's a really bad idea. And I would deeply ask you to repent and to go the other way. Literally turn and go the other way. It was so terrible. And it was not only the religious street preachers. The last day when we came out, it was the Gaza people. I was being screamed at in my left ear about how voting for Kamala Harris meant that I was killing children in Gaza. And in my right ear, that voting for any Democrat was going to be killing other children in the United States. And they were screaming at everyone. It was just utter madness. I'm all for free speech, and I'm also all for lending a little advice on your technique. It's terrible. It's just sheer awfulness. I
would commend to folks not the Apostle Paul in this case, but the Apostle Rob Bell, and in his Pneuma epistle known as Bullhorn, Remember that? Remember Numa videos, Doug? Um,
I no, I don't. But I know
oh,
they exist, but I don't remember
yeah,
any of them.
yeah. There's one called Bullhorn about the guy on the side of the street yelling
Oh,
into his bullhorn. We're just, yeah, folks need to reevaluate this thing. It's just not
it's
an
just not working.
effective method of communication.
There are a lot of times where communication, be it a speech someone's giving, a conversation with a friend, a podcast, a street preacher, is not for the hearer. It is for the deliverer. It is
Yes.
it is some level of self
Yep.
something that's going on. So, in light of that, as we do that around here on the Common Good podcast,
Yeah.
we encourage you to keep up with all of our work. All right, a few other things going on in the news. Kamala
Oh yeah.
Harris doing well, doing
Yes.
well.
Yes.
I'm still anxious for the
Yep.
first interview, and now I'm starting to be a bit intrigued why she hasn't done. I thought she'd come out of the convention, sit down
Yep.
with 60 Minutes,
Yep.
and she didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up.
I don't know either.
Can't wait. Big ratings.
Yeah. Yeah. The debate is set in stone now. The former president posted on Truth Social that he's agreed to the terms of the debate after yesterday kind of suggesting he might drop out. And so it's going to be on ABC, what I think he referred to as the most biased news broadcaster of them all.
Yeah, more than CNN or
Yeah,
MSNBC.
yeah. It's going to be on
Who used to be.
ABC,
Yeah.
and it's going to be, I think, September 5th. It's going to be a stand-up debate
September
with
10th, I think, if it matters.
no. I think it's September 5th.
Okay.
I think.
Yabbits? Let's
Yeah,
get the crack.
that's right.
Let's get
Yeah,
the crack staff
yeah,
on this.
yeah.
Yabbits.
Yeah, fact
Would
check
you
us
look it
here,
up?
yeah. I think it's September 5th. He also wants one on September 4th on Fox News, and I think he wants one on NBC on September 10th, but Kamala Harris has not agreed to those. And what it's going to be muted mics and the same rules from the ill-fated Joe Biden debate. I have no doubt. When I went into the first debate with great trepidation at the idea of Joe Biden standing for a couple of hours debating Donald Trump, and that turned out to go very poorly, I have no trepidation about Kamala Harris's ability to prosecute her case and convince the majority of the American people, especially in the swing states that are most necessary, that she deserves to be our next president. But Doug, that's not the big news of the day.
There's a lot
Donald
of
Trump.
noise in your back end there somewhere.
Oh my goodness! Is it
Something-
the fan?
It's the fan. Is there a fan blowing?
Yes, because I get hot. I'm a hot-blooded man. Is that better? Is that better?
So much better. You just imagine poor Mike Stafford with his headphones on, and he's listening to this thing. He's had the whole time, and then he's going to be like, "Just so Rob wouldn't be hot while sitting still."
Yeah, I know. I'm the kind of person. I'm the kind of person that can
I could just see
sweat sitting still.
I could just see Joe on the treadmill, being like, "You think you're hot?"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So, listen, this is not the debate, not the big announcement from Donald Trump today. Doug, have you seen the big announcement from Donald Trump today?
I have not. I have not seen the big announcement from Donald Trump. What does it say? He's dropping out of the race.
We are 70 days away from an election. 70
the most
days.
important election of our lifetime.
Yes, 70 days away from Donald Trump asking once again for the American people to elect him president of the United States, his third attempt at doing that. 70 days, the home stretch. We've entered that. The conventions are done. The debate is on the books. We are ready to go. We're, as Yabbit says, just a few weeks away from early voting. Doug, if this is the case, and you are running for president, 100% focused on that, right? Former President Donald Trump has released a fourth batch of the digital trading cards he says have generated millions of dollars with each launch. His latest merchandise sale as he continues an attempt to court crypto-friendly voters ahead of the
Wow.
November election. Trump on Tuesday announced the release of the $99 Series 4, the America First collection, non-fungible tokens or NFTs. This round of cards feature Trump posing as the sneakerhead, wearing his own line of golden shoes, wearing an Iron Man-esque suit with the title Super Trump, and several with the label Crypto President, a moniker he gave himself while speaking at a tech fundraiser in June. The release includes pricey packages that promises physical gifts to buyers. Customers who hit a minimum spend could get an autographed
Could.
shoes from Trump's sneaker line, a piece
Wow.
of his suit from his debate with Joe Biden, and dinner with the former president. Up to 25 people who spend $24,750 using only crypto are promised tickets to a Trump gala in Florida next month and cocktails with the former president.
So gross. It's just so gross. And the other thing is, you know what, Don? Take all the crypto people. Just have them all. Who cares? Like,
Seen some
just
of the seen some
so
of the
asinine. It is unthinkable.
uh,
This is all he'll be doing after November 6th. He will just be rolling straight into NFTs and to pay lawyers' fees.
oh,
Just
they're
wow.
so funny. I'm looking at some. Oh, they're just hilarious. Oh, it's just what a doofus. Doug, since the last time we talked, we went from 3 major presidential candidates down to 2. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Joined Donald Trump in Nevada, Arizona, somewhere out there. Those 2 states kind of run together for me, like Alabama and Mississippi.
He's in Arizona.
And yeah, Arizona. There you go. Yeah, I wasn't wrong.
Nope.
Joined Donald Trump on the stage at a Make America Great Again rally and endorsed him for president. Dropped out of the race and was joined by former Democratic presidential candidate in endorsing Donald Trump, Tulsi Gabbard. So it feels like the political power brokers are coalescing around the former president.
See, yeah, the former Democrats, the never Harris, never Biden Democrats, both of them have come around Donald Trump. Look, I had begged the universe 2 weeks ago that we would never have to speak of Robert Kennedy Jr. again. And it was just a few weeks premature. Now maybe we can be done talking about the guy. Maybe his 2 or 3%, 4% in the polls after Kamala Harris got into the race will move to Donald Trump. Maybe there's a bunch of people who don't want folks telling them to take vaccines, do want someone to tell them who to vote for. Maybe those people exist in the world. And if so, feel free.
Yeah.
Buy a $74 red Make America hat again and chip into the legal defense fund for Donald Trump if you like. I mean,
yeah.
Look, Robert Kennedy Jr. called the Harris campaign asking for a position in the cabinet in exchange for his endorsement. They didn't take his call.
You know who did?
So he left Trump. The dead bear at the Trump rally.
Oh.
And tried to make news out of it.
Have you seen the story about the whale head?
No.
Apparently, his daughter tells this story. They were on a family vacation, and there was a dead whale on the beach, and he got out a chainsaw and cut its head. These are details.
Why does he get it? Why is he on a boat with a chainsaw?
It was a family vacation. He was got out a chainsaw, cut the whale's head off, put it on the roof of the car, bungee corded it on, drove home with it, and like the kids had to put plastic bags over their heads, his children, with holes cut out for their mouths so they could breathe because the whale juice was dripping on the whale juice. This guy, it's so Like,
It
I
just
I
doesn't
think that
stop.
the thing that Donald Trump can do to really blunt the, the accusation of being
We're
a
weird.
weird, is to bring someone like RFK Jr. on
Ah.
board.
Well, okay. So he's like, look, we know
De
weird
facto
around here.
VP,
We know weird. Bannon,
JD Vance.
Navarro,
Oh,
JD Vance. I mean, I'm not weird compared to those guys, right?
oh my goodness.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, just
the Roger Stone with the Richard Nixon tattoo. Just,
yeah,
yeah, these folks
just
are weird.
incredible.
Did you see the video of JD Vance trying to order donuts?
I did see that. I did see it. It was
It's just
painful. It was.
these
It was.
people are just not normal.
Well, I'll just tell you,
Also,
a lot of us who've
we're,
been
we're we're
treated
playing the
that.
little game of like, hey, did you hear this story? I got one more. Did you
Okay,
hear? And this goes a little different direction. Did you hear about Dr. Fauci?
hang on. Yeah, you see, Evans. Trump will ask JFK Jr. to take JD to Central Park.
Seriously, like, well, before we talk about Dr. Fauci, yes, if I'm JD Vance, I think I'm suddenly. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like if it's like. Well, really, he has nothing to worry about because Donald Trump is not the kind of person that would
no,
be like, I don't know, begin to date a wife, like a
no,
future wife while he's married to a wife. He's
no.
not the
He's
kind
not.
of person who would like cheat on a pregnant wife or a
No,
wife that had just given birth. He's
of
not the
course
kind of
he's
person
not.
that would do that. He's not the kind of person who would bring in a new VP pick to take the place of his current VP pick.
When the new VP pick says, "I actually have money," as opposed to, "I know people who have money," like JD Vance,
Exactly.
and it could get you out of the trouble. By the way, before you get to this last story, did you hear DL Huey at the convention?
I did
He's the
not.
comedian.
Hughley. Hughley.
Hughley. I don't know what his he had to make an apology about something. So at some point he must have been hard on Kamala Harris. I don't know anything about that, but he had one line where he said, there's all these groups of people for Harris. There's black dudes for Harris, white dudes for Harris. There's even Republicans for Harris. Well, Donald, I wonder what it's going to feel like when you're the one they leave for a younger woman. Great line.
Great line.
Great line. When you're the one they leave for a younger woman. So we're
Fantastic.
stealing that joke in the Vote Common Good lexicon, and we are going to start using that. Like, hey, have you voted for Republicans in the past? Wouldn't you love to leave Donald Trump for a younger woman? I mean, we're going to steal that
Amazing.
sucker all
Amazing.
day long. Yeah.
Did you hear about Dr. Fauci?
No, is he okay? Through COVID?
Hospitalized
What?
with the West Nile virus.
No, no,
Yes, like you can't make this stuff up.
no.
West Nile virus. Amazing.
How?
No commentary on that other than what are
How?
the chances? What
Well,
are the
well,
chances? Apparently
karma.
pretty good.
With karma, it's 100%. Karma is just a real stickler.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Big news today, Doug. Big news right before we came on. Big news. Once again, a federal grand jury in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
has indicted, this time re-indicted Donald Trump on 4 felony charges related to his effort to subvert the 2020 presidential election. 36, I'm reading from a Politico article. The 36-page indictment secured Tuesday by special counsel Jack Smith is an attempt by prosecutors to recalibrate the case against Trump in light of the Supreme Court's ruling last month that concluded presidents enjoy sweeping immunity from prosecution for their official duty. Basically, what it does, this superseding indictment, it takes out references to official acts and includes things like referring to Mike Pence rather than calling him vice president, referring to him as Donald Trump's running mate, and talks about how Trump's rally at the Ellipse on January 6th was privately funded, privately organized. It was not official duty. Stresses that Trump often used his Twitter account for personal purposes, really trying to make the case that regardless of what playing field we're on, regardless of if the Supreme Court have moved the goalposts, the reality of the game
Yep.
is that Donald Trump cheated, and Jack Smith wants to make sure that there's no doubt about that. A superseding indictment, Doug.
Yep. And
Once again,
when you hear superseding indictment, if you're sort of a novice like me in legal terms, it sounds like it's like a super duper indictment.
oh,
You know what I mean?
supersede.
Yeah,
Ooh.
supersede. Ooh, wow, wow.
Mm.
It's like when people say, what's the phrase about not the tertiary, but the something like that, some word that actually means third, and it sounds like it's more important. But a superseding indictment means it's inside the same general indictment and it replaces. So I don't, does the article say how many charges he was charged with in the first indictment, which now they've
Four,
replaced with this one? It was
four,
four both times.
four both times.
Oh, that's great. Okay, good. I'm glad they didn't have to drop any
No,
felony charges,
no. It
because
essentially
still
is
have
the
97 felony charges thing in my
yes,
in my lexicon. I
yes,
didn't want to have to update how many felonies Donald Trump is charged with.
yeah, and essentially, what it does is this is providing new evidence and evidence that conforms to the Supreme Court
Yeah,
decision
right.
that keeps the trial on
Yeah,
track.
yeah. You could imagine.
And this, just one other thing. This was evidence presented to a completely new grand jury. This is not the old grand jury. This is another set of regular, everyday Americans, ordinary folks like you and me who love the country, love the Constitution,
The
hear
true
the
Adam
evidence
Kissinger.
and go, yeah, that guy. yeah. Yeah, there's probable cause to indict that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably guilty of the things that you just articulated. Well, look, I mean, and this is smart and good and the right thing, because say a prosecutor had a set of charges out against someone for a crime, and then the law changed as related to that crime,
Yep.
but there were 5 other things the person was charged with that were not, the law was not changed in relationship to them. You would do a new indictment. So that's what this is. It's good to see that Jack Smith is not just saying, oh, well, in light of the Supreme Court saying that a president has immunity for any act that is presidential or could be determined to be presidential, that doesn't unravel this case at all. Do you think at all that this thing then could be accelerated and somehow get to court before 2028? Before the election of 2028,
Before
people.
2028, yes.
2028.
Yes. 2028, yes. 2024, no.
Maybe.
No.
Well, if Trump wins, it's not for 2028. Yeah.
Well, Donald
It's
Trump's
just
not
insane.
winning. I mean,
Well,
Jesus.
Well, look, yes.
I mean, we have been very wrong at
Let me
times.
introduce you to Doug Padgett 2016. Let me introduce you to that
totally.
guy.
Rob Ryerson 2016, like
Who was sure
I
of a
would
couple
say,
things.
yeah. Oh, I know. But, and we saw this, and this was my key argument of why Joe Biden was going to win. It was because people who made the choice in 2016, who said, I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton because she's going to win. I'm not going to hold my nose and vote for her.
Yeah.
Because there's no chance this moron's going to win. They did not make that. And I'm a person who made that mistake. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Yeah.
Because not because I didn't want her to win, but because I didn't want to vote for her. I voted. I did not vote for her, but I was absolutely rooting for her.
You should have wanted to.
Well, listen, I appreciate that.
Let me shit on you.
Yeah, listen, I don't know. Doug, I don't know if you were listening when I talked at the Christians for Kamala event where I talked about like this, what took you so long kind of attitude.
No, this is the what was matter with you back then attitude.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
totally different
yeah,
than the what took you so long
really,
attitude.
really helpful. Really, really helpful.
This is the
this
what
is
on earth?
People in 2020, people did not make that same mistake. They went and voted for Joe Biden in record numbers.
Yes, they did.
Same thing's happening in 2024.
I hope. And look, let's just be perfectly clear. Record numbers in a pandemic, more people had access to vote than any time before and then in this coming election because of access that was made available in lots of states for people to vote by mail.
Yeah.
Joe Biden won the states that matter by less than 50,000 votes.
Yes.
So, yes, record numbers and a fractional number of people. More people will go to see a professional football game on opening day than the margin of victory spread across 3 states. So this is why I just think that these numbers are so fragile. You could get a 10 or 20,000 person shift in Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona.
Yep.
And it goes either way. This egg could roll off the table either side. And so I just, yes. And look, I'm someone who rode on the bus in 2020 saying out loud, I cannot imagine more people saying in 2020, after what Donald Trump did as president, I think I'll vote for him this year, even though I didn't vote for him in 2016. And people who did not vote for him in 2016 voted for him in 2020. I mean, I can't include Adam Kissinger in that because he voted for him both times. Oh, Kinzinger.
Liz Cheney.
Yeah, we could start down the list.
Yeah. Mitt Romney.
I'm talking about people like his number of votes was like 63 million in 2016. And in 2020, 74 million. I think something like 10 million people more, not 10 million people total. 74 million Americans picked him, and 10 million of those had not voted for him in 2016. All I'm saying is, oh my goodness.
Yes. I would have to check these numbers. But I saw Rick Wilson, who, one of the founders of the Lincoln Project. I saw he tweeted earlier today that he woke up this morning thinking about the fact that Donald Trump has received more presidential votes than any other person in history.
Yes. Because he's run twice now.
Well,
and the numbers were higher than Obama.
Yeah, and we'd want to go back and check maybe Franklin Roosevelt, who ran 4 times, but
smaller population. I bet it squeezes in. But Reagan, because Reagan won 49 of 50
49 states. 49 states.
He didn't win the great state of Minnesota, and he didn't win the District of Columbia. He took the rest. Greedflation was alive and well at that moment. But you're probably right. More people have probably voted for Donald Trump than for any other single individual. This is what I'm getting at. Now, will his numbers be closer to 61 million in 2024? Like, will the number go below 2016 numbers? That's possible. Even, no matter how it goes, if Kamala Harris wins by 3 million or 4 million or 5 million votes is what she's going to need across the country in order to have these states be settled, it's still just fractional numbers. I mean, that's why all of us just like friends, just everything we got, just like 70 days. Now, to be clear, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
when we're dead.
In Minnesota. It doesn't matter in California. It does. And I could now go through a list of 45 states where it doesn't matter, but there are 5 states where it really does. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona, maybe Nevada. Really matters in those 5 or 6 states. It really matters in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. If Kamala Harris and Tim Walz win those states, that's it. Kamala Harris has a less likely path to the Electoral College than Donald Trump. Even at this point. And at this point in 2016, Hillary Clinton was up nationally and in all those states by nearly 7 points. Kamala Harris is tied or behind in all of them. So I know we got ourselves a match. So do what you can to get your friends and family out there. Hey, our little article from Vote Common Good, op-ed in the MSNBC, if people haven't seen that yet, dig around, is really doing quite well. Lots of attention coming from it. We've been invited to be on Fox News Sunday morning, Labor Day Sunday. It's kind of like when the youth pastor gets to preach at church. Labor Day Sunday, get to be on Fox News at 7 or 8 in the morning. I was on Laura Coates' show this morning. Do you know Laura Coates? She's a CNN person, a show at CNN. She is on it, well, my time, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock Central Time. It is, I believe, 11 to midnight in New York. I think that's what time this show is on, 10 to 11 here, 11, 12 there. I was on her radio show on XM, Sirius XM this morning at 6:30 Central. She has a show that goes till 11 or 12 o'clock New York time and then is on radio at 7 a.m. the next day. Laura Coates, hardest working person in media, apparently. Nice. Amazing. Just remarkable. And anyway, a bunch of interest coming about this stuff. We're pushing as hard as we can. We honestly believe that there's enough evangelical and Catholic voters that will change their voting pattern in those 5 states to secure the victory if the work is done properly. How's that for a closer?
No, here's amazing.
Thank you.
Here, you know the nightmare scenario.
The tie, and it goes to Nebraska, the congressional district in Nebraska, or the one in Maine or wherever it is, New Hampshire, where they split.
No, I mean, it's 538. It can be 269 to 269.
Yeah. And then it goes to House of Representatives.
Yes, but each state delegation gets 1 vote. So it's not like it. It's just nightmare scenario. And so for this to happen, here's the scenario. Kamala Harris wins Pennsylvania. Kamala Harris wins Michigan. Kamala Harris wins Nevada. Kamala Harris wins Arizona. Donald Trump wins North Carolina. Donald Trump wins Georgia. Donald Trump wins Wisconsin.
What happens what happens in Nebraska? Who has to win that little district?
They split it. They Kamala has to win it.
So they split it for the tie?
No. If Kamala would have to win Nebraska.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they do that one congressional district differently.
Yes. That's the one I'm talking about. Yes. She wins that.
Then it's a tie.
Yeah. Wisconsin. It's all about Wisconsin.
Yeah. Well, and Pennsylvania. She can't win without Pennsylvania. You take Pennsylvania out, and the races that are up, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Georgia, Arizona, that one place in Nebraska, and Nevada. She could win all those, and if she doesn't win Pennsylvania, that's it. That's what I'm saying. She has less of a path. And if they start getting distracted and go for North Carolina or Georgia or Florida, she doesn't even have to win Georgia. Doesn't even have to win Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's
and look, just to be clear, put this on record, put this on TikTok now so it never goes away. If Donald Trump runs the horrible presidency that he ran, leads an insurrection against the United States, calls the elections a rigged fraud, is convicted of 34 fraudulent felonies, is charged with crimes of hoarding documents and leading the insurrection and interfering in the case in Georgia, and he still wins this election. Well,
Right.
at some point you're just looking around being like, what can make sense out of this world? What's going on? I mean,
Yep.
truthfully,
Yep.
the,
Listen, I love our
apparently candidates don't matter at that point.
Yeah. I love our forefathers. I think they were brilliant. How do you have an even number of electoral votes? How is a tie even possible?
Yeah, that's a good point.
How do you do this?
Well, did they do it or did Nebraska?
I don't know. I don't know who did it, but there should not be an even number of votes where you can split them evenly. It has to be an odd number.
If there's going to
be an odd number.
College.
No, nobody goes, hey, listen, best 2 out of 4. You don't do best 2 out of 4. You do best 3 out of 5. You know why? Yeah. Because it's an odd number and somebody has to win.
Yeah.
The 538 makes no sense. It needs to be 539. It needs to be 537. Let's take one away. Take one of Arkansas's. I don't care. Yeah. Take one away.
Or add one. We need more representatives anyway. Yes, let's add one.
Absolutely. Add one.
To nerd out for people, why there's 538 is because that's the number of congressional members there are.
Yep.
And they capped the number of representatives there would be. It used to be based on the population. Whatever number it was, 175,000 population, you got a House of Representatives member. And then they were like, the population is growing too fast. We're going to have too many members. We will have 3,000 people. Yep. So the whole structure then started to dilute how much representation you have per person. It's overly represented in the Senate in some states, underrepresented in the Senate in other states. In other words, California, Texas, Florida, New York get 2 senators, as does Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana. They also get 2 each. So those 8 represent 2 million people, and the other 8, represents 80 million people. It's just craziness. And then we have this limited number. So we need more representatives and we need more Senate. We need more states as far as Senates go. If a state's so big, California, those places, they need to have 4 representatives or something, 4 senators, not 2. All right. We can solve all these problems. All right. You good?
It's an even number. It's
rigged. It's rigged. Okay, bye, everybody.